Everybody loves dads, stories, and the Marine Corps. What could be better than Marine Corps dads who tell stories? Here's another story with veteran storyteller John Sugar Jr., a Marine Corps dad.
Tonight, we're going to tell the story of the Bandaid Mummy. Once upon a time, in a faraway land, in the land of Egypt, there was a man, a pharaoh, a king of the empire, and his name was Flunkenhamen. Now, Flunkenhamen was a bad pharaoh. He was mean to his people. He would kick children and whap little dogs and shoot birds with a BB gun. He was a mean man. Well, one day, Flunkenhamen was gonna die, and Flunkenhamen said, "You will make me a mummy like you have made all the other pharaohs of Egypt." And the priest said, "No, we're not." And Flunkenhamen said, "Say what now?" And they made Flunkenhamen a mummy, but they didn't wrap him up in toilet paper. Well, rags. Rags. They didn't wrap him up in rags like they did all the other pharaohs. No. One by one. And the last thing you heard of Flunkenhamen as the lid on the sarcophagus went was because the priests had covered him in band-aids. 4,000 years later, they found the tomb of Flunkenhamen. And like every explorer who explores a mummy's tomb, they woke the dumb thing up. Why can't we just let the mummies be dead? I don't know. But they woke Flunkenhamen up, and Flunkenhamen came out of his tomb. You can't really hear him. As he was trying to get the explorers, and the explorers are, and they would fall down, tripping over nothing. And Flunkenhamen would be like, very much pointless. And they were fleeing away from Flunkenhamen. And the sky became dark, and fire rained down from the sky, because Flunkenhamen was a bad guy and a mummy. And he said, well, with this expedition was a small boy whose name was Richard. Richard had a thing for pulling at things. If he saw a little bit of string, he had to pull at it. He would unravel entire blankets. He'd pulling at it. He'd pull. The boy could not keep a Band-Aid on his body. His mother would slap the Band-Aid on, and then smack 14 more Band-Aids over the top of that, duct tape it, wrap it in iron, and still, 10 minutes later, he's picking the Band-Aid off. Got through everything to pick the Band-Aid off. Well, he saw Flunkenhamen. He saw the edge of a Band-Aid hanging off of Flunkenhamen's leg, and Richard said, Must rip. And so Richard darted forward, and his mother said, Richard! because the boy is dashing towards a supernatural undead creature, king of the ancient past, calling down the 10 plagues of Egypt. And Richard's running at him. So Richard runs right at the mummy. And Flunkenhammond goes, I'm going to eat this kid. I can't fit him in my mouth because the Band-Aids. And he's going to grab him. And Richard reached out, firmly grasped the edge of the Band-Aid, and went, and Flunkenhammond went, ah! Because when you rip a Band-Aid off, it hurts. And that Band-Aid had been there for 4,000 years. Well, when you rip one Band-Aid off, it kind of pulls at the others. And Richard went, And Flunkenhammond went, shaking him. And Richard went, and Flunkenhammond started to scream. Because Richard didn't stop. And Flunkenhammond died again. Because Richard ripped off every Band-Aid from his body. And Flunkenhammond died again. And went down to the underworld and was like, I'm so glad to be back here. It was awful. There was this kid. Now the other mummies are looking at him. Really? Really? You don't understand. Uh-huh. And so a small boy named Richard saved the world from Flunkenhammond, the Bandaid Mummy.
Who
The end.
used to be the Bandaid Mummy.
Yeah, now he's just kind of the really raw and in pain mummy.
That was another story with John Sugar Jr., a Marine Corps dad. Check the show notes for links to his Patreon and website at creativegrumbles.com.